դուրս մղել կամ արդյունաբերությունների, որոնք այն կարող է անճանաչելիորեն վերափոխել։ Շատ ավելի քիչ ուշադրություն է դարձում դրա ստեղծագործական կողմին։ Ի հայտ եկող նոր ապրանքներին եւ ծառայություններին, արդյունավետությանը, որը որոշակի խնդիրներ առաջին անգամ տնտեսապես կենսյունակ կդարձնի, եւ հնարավորություններին, որոնք առաջանում են, երբ ռեսուրսները ազատվում են հին, պակաս արդյունավետ օգտագործումից։ Համոզված եմ, որ քննարկումների ժամանակ անպատճառ ակադեմիական քաղաքը կգտնվի շատերի ուշադրության կենտրոնում։ Այդ հանգամանքը հաշվի առնելով ներկայացնեմ արդեն Նոբելյանի մրցանակի դափնեկիր տնտեսագիտության պատմաբան Ջոել Մոքերի մի քանի մտքեր։ Տնտեսական փոփոխությունը ավելի քան շատ տնտեսագետներ կարծում են կախված նրանից, թե ինչի են մարդիկ հավատում։ Նորից եմ կրկնում, թե ինչի են մարդիկ հավատում։ Համոզմունքներն ու դիսկուրսը նյութական փոփոխության հետ միասին կազմում են ժամանակակից աճի հանելուկի բացակայող կտորներ։ Մոքերի համար նորարարը մի տեսակ ապստամբ է, մեկը, ով չի ցանկանում ընդունել աշխարհն այնպիսին, ինչպիսին այն կա, փոխարենը վճռականորեն տրամադրված է այն վերաձևավորելու։ Բարգավաճ տնտեսությունները նորարարությանը որպես վառելիք են ապավինում, սակայն նորարարությունն ինքնին կախված է ինստիտուցիոնալ միջավայրից, որը ողջունում է այս ստեղծագործական ապստամբությունը։ Առանց փորձարկումների եւ այլախոհության բացության, նույնիսկ ամենատաղանդավոր մտքերը չեն ունենա տարածք նոր գաղափարները առաջընթացի վերածելու համար։ Միջդեռ ագիոնն ու հովիտը առաջամարտիկներ էին այն բանի համար, ինչը մակրոտնտեսագետներն անվանում են էնդոգեն աճի տեսություն։ Ի տարբերություն նախկին մոդելների, որոնք աճը դիտարկում են որպես տնտեսությունից դուրս ուժերի կողմից պայմանավորված, ինչպիսիք են պարզապես կապիտալի կուտակումը կամ արտահանման տեխնոլոգիական ցնցումները, նրանք ուսումնասիրեցին, թե ինչպես է նորարարությունը առաջանում հենց համակարգի ներսում։ Նրանց համար տեխնոլոգիական հնարավորությունը բույն են դրված յուրաքանչյուր հասարակության ինստիտուցիոնալ շրջանակներում, ինչպես ձվի մեջ զարգացող ճուտը։ Տնտեսությունները զարգանում կամ լճանում են, կախված նրանից, թե որքան լավ են խրախուսում կամ ճնշում ստեղծագործական ոչնչացումը։ Այս տարվա դափնեկիրների կարծիքով կայուն աճը պարզապես ներդրումների կամ հետազոտական ծախսերի հարց չէ։ Այն պահանջում է տեխնոլոգիական եւ դրանց բերված անկայունությունը ընդունելու պատրաստակամություն։ Չափից շատ կարգավորումը եւ հովանավորչական քաղաքականությունը կարող են խեղդել ձեռնարկատիրական փորձարկումները, կասեցնել ներդրումները եւ վերջո խեղդել ստեղծագործականությունը։ Մրցակցությունից իրենց պաշտպաններ ձգտող շահագրգիռ խմբերի ազդեցության սահմանափակումը նույնքան կարևոր է։ Երբ հաստատված ընկերությունները թերադրում են քաղաքական օրակարգը, նրանք դա հաճախ անում են նորարարների հաշվին, ովքեր մի օր կարող են փոխարինել նրանց։ Մեկ անգամ եւս ցանկանում եմ ընդգծել. այս տարվա Նոբելյան մրցանակը հազվագյուտ եւ արժանի նոտա է ուղղված եւ նշանավորելով նրանց, ովքեր խորացրել են մեր ըմբռնումը նորարարության, ինստիտուտների եւ ստեղծագործական ոչնչացման դինամիկայի վերաբերյալ։ Կոմիտեն հիշեցրել է աշխարհին, որ տնտեսական առաջընթացը կախված է ոչ թե փոփոխությունից խուսափելուց, այլ այն օգտագործելուց։ Եվ այս փիլիսոփայությունն է, որ պետք է առաջնորդի մեզ առաջիկայում, առավել ևս կրթության բնագավառում ռազմավարական խնդիրներ լուծելու մարտահրավերներին դիմակայելու համար։ Կրթությունը, գիտելիքը, ստեղծագործական ոչնչացումը, նոր տեխնոլոգիաներն այն շարժիչ ուժն են, որ կապահովեն Հայաստանի Հանրապետության զարգացման, քաղաքացիների համընդհանուր բարեկեցության եւ տնտեսության աճի, պետության անվտանգության մակարդակի բարձրացման հարատեվությունը։ Մաղթում եմ արդյունավետ աշխատանք։ Շնորհակալություն։
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your continued support of Armenia's vision to advance education and innovation. And now, dear guests, please warmly welcome to the stage Georgia's Minister of Education, Science and Youth, ՈՒՂԻղ Mikanadze.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, dear Madam Minister, distinguished colleagues, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, this is an honor and a genuine pleasure to participate in this high-level discussion and conference. Conferences such as this are not only opportunities to exchange ideas, they are vital platforms where we reaffirm our shared commitments to the advancement of education across our countries and beyond. We recognize that while our national contexts differ, our challenges and aspirations are deeply interconnected. The progress of one education system strengthens others, and only through dialogue and cooperation can we ensure that our collective efforts contribute to a more resilient and competitive global education space. We are living in a time where the pace of global change is unprecedented, where technology, labor market, and knowledge itself are constantly evolving. In this context, our education systems must not only transmit knowledge, but also cultivate adaptability, creativity, and resilience. This is precisely the vision that guides Georgia's ongoing higher education reforms undertaken under the leadership of the Prime Minister of Georgia, Mr. Irakli Kobakhidze. The government of Georgia recently has developed the national concept for the reform of the higher education system, a comprehensive framework built around challenges which targeted policy actions to address each of them. While Georgia has a long academic tradition dating back to the historic Ikalto Academy, one of the region's earliest centers of learning, our universities today must operate in a rapidly changing global environment. Our task is to preserve this legacy while modernizing our institutions to deliver education and research of international quality. To achieve this transformation, the government has identified 7 key challenges that must be addressed through targeted, evidence-based reforms. The first challenge is the regional imbalance in higher education. Over 85% of Georgian students are concentrated in Tbilisi, driving migration from the regions and hindering balanced socio-economic development. Our response is to establish a geographically balanced system by enhancing Kutaisi as a second major university hub alongside Tbilisi. Kutaisi, with its historic roots as a center of scholarship, will become a cornerstone of regional academic growth, while we simultaneously strengthen the capacity of 5 regional state universities across the regions. The second challenge is closely related. It concerns uneven quality and inefficient resource use. Georgia currently has 19 public and 45 private universities, all issuing diplomas of equal standing, yet not of equal quality. Infrastructure and academic standards vary significantly, and our system has sometimes struggled to ensure the efficient use of human and material resources. In response, we are introducing the principle of one city, one faculty. This reform will consolidate overlapping departments, strengthen institutional identities, and help universities focus on their academic strengths. We also plan to adopt a 3+1 model, 3 years of undergraduate study followed by 1 year of master's level education, bringing our system closer to international standards and improving mobility for students and graduates alike. Another major focus of our reform is human resource development. Georgia is fortunate to have a strong pool of dedicated academics and researchers, but their potential is not always fully realized. Many are employed part-time and remuneration remains low. To address this, we are reforming our academic staffing model so that core faculty will consist of full-time professors, associate professors, and assistant professors who lead teaching and research in their fields. Salaries for academic staff will increase significantly, and we are also developing structured pathways to attract foreign professors in disciplines where local expertise is scarce. And of course, excellence in teaching cannot be separated from excellence in research. At present, the link between the two remains weaker than it should be. Research funding is fragmented and universities often lack mechanisms to integrate new knowledge directly into the learning process. We are now building a new research funding system fully oriented towards strengthening research capacities within universities. At the same time, we are supporting the development of modern, high-quality textbooks and teaching materials, resources indispensable for high academic standards and meaningful learning experiences. Equally important is ensuring that education remains relevant to the needs of our economy. For too long, student admission and academic programs have been only loosely connected to labor market realities. The result has been a mismatch between graduates' skills and employers' needs. To change this, we are establishing a system of regular labor market analysis in partnership with the private sector to guide university admissions, inform public funding, and better align academic programs with Georgia's economic priorities. In parallel, we are overhauling the funding model for higher education. The current grant-based approach, while successful in expanding access, does not adequately consider the varying costs of different disciplines or their strategic importance. Our goal is to develop a performance and cost-based funding system, ensuring that every lari invested in contributes effectively to national education and development goals. Finally, a reform of this scale cannot succeed without modern, inspiring learning environments. Many of our public universities still operate in outdated buildings that do not meet the needs of students and staff. Therefore, we are investing in the construction of new, fully equipped university hubs in Tbilisi and Kutaisi, as well as the renovation of regional universities across the country. These projects will create campuses that reflect the aspirations of a new generation, spaces that support education, research, innovation, and student life. Beyond these 7 areas of reform, Georgia's vision for higher education is guided by broader principles: internationalization, digital transformation, and partnership. We are strengthening cooperation with leading universities and research institutions abroad, participating actively in the European higher education area and expanding digital infrastructure to make learning more accessible, flexible, and future-oriented. At the heart of all these efforts is a simple belief that education is not merely about preparing individuals for employment, but about empowering them to shape the future of their communities, their countries, and our shared world. Ladies and gentlemen, reforming higher education is not an easy journey. It requires persistence, vision, and collective effort. Yet, Georgia has embarked upon it with determination and with confidence in the transformative power of education. By tackling regional imbalance, improving academic quality, aligning education with labor market needs, and modernizing infrastructure, we aim to build a system that is fair, competitive, and future-ready. Our efforts are part of a broader international mission. This collective work among the countries represented here and our partners worldwide reflects a shared responsibility to prepare our youth for a world defined by innovation, interconnection, and opportunity. Together we can shape a higher education space that is inclusive, forward-looking, and capable of meeting the challenges of the next generation. This is not only an educational mission, it is our shared commitment to building a more prosperous, innovative, and connected global community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Mikanadze. Before we move forward, a quick note for all the attendees. Throughout the whole forum, you are warmly invited to submit your questions or comments to the panelists and the speakers by scanning the QR code that will appear on the display. Your insights and engagement are vital for this event, so be sure that we are actively looking forward to your comments. Now, we are delighted to begin our first high-level session of the forum, high-level ministerial panel discussion titled Global Challenges, National Responses. To lead this important conversation, it's a great pleasure to have Zuzana Shamakhyan, the Executive Director of the Foundation for Armenian Science and Technology, FAST, as the moderator of the session. She will guide today's dialogue among distinguished panelists. Please join me in welcoming Zuzana to the stage.
Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests. It's an honor to be moderating the first panel, and I would like to thank the two ministers for their respective presentations on the local perspectives of what the higher education reforms are looking in the countries of Armenia and Georgia. With this, I would like to invite Minister of Education and Science and Culture and Sports of Armenia, Ms. Andreasyan, to the stage, and the Minister of Education, Science and Youth of Georgia, Mr. Mikanadze, back on the stage. Thank you. Also, we will be joined by the Deputy Minister for Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Ms. Kobinyova, and Assistant Minister for International Cooperation and European Integration of Serbia, Dr. Samardzic, and Director General of Mohammed bin Saud bin Abdulaziz Al Mohbel. I hope I served the service in saying the last names of everyone. Before we delve into a discussion format, I think what we are discussing is very important in the global perspective. Higher education and education in general, we can all say, is in crisis globally, and everyone is trying to understand how to adapt to the realities. And in that context, I would like to invite our international colleagues to first also make short statements on what the national responses are in general in your countries before we go into a discussion format. So with this, I would like to first invite Deputy Minister Kobinyova to have her short statement. Please.
Доброе утро, уважаемые участники, гости Международного форума. Во-первых, разрешите поблагодарить за приглашение. Жанна Арамовна, рада вас приветствовать и передать большой привет от нашего министра науки и высшего образования Республики Казахстан Саясат Нурбека и пожелания плодотворной работы на Международном форуме. Тема форума, конечно, она очень интересна и для нас близка. По сути, если посмотреть, государственная программа развития образования Армении до 2030 года, практически она определила такие же приоритеты развития науки и высшего образования, которые определил для себя и Казахстан. Но у каждой страны есть свой путь развития и есть особенности развития. И на пути развития высшего образования какие же сегодня задачи поставил для себя Казахстан? Во-первых, конечно, время сейчас непростое, вызовы очень большие, в эпоху особенно цифровизации, глобализации и развития искусственного интеллекта. Первоочередная задача, которая стояла перед нашим правительством, это обеспечение доступа молодежи к получению высшего образования. И наряду с возможностью обучения за счет государственного гранта были предусмотрены новые механизмы получения высшего образования. Это как дифференцированные гранты, льготно-образовательный кредит. Запущена новая программа «Келешек», которая дает возможность с рождения детей родителям накапливать средства до 18 лет, и к 18 годам накапливается определенная сумма средств, позволяющая обучаться в университете. Ну и, безусловно, давая доступ к получению высшего образования, очень важно обеспечить качество обучения и обеспечить повышение конкурентоспособности казахстанских вузов. Сегодня в нашей стране работают 122 высших учебных заведения, где уже обучается более 700 тысяч студентов. И как раз-таки, наверное, пожалуй, последние годы принятие закона об академической, управленческой и финансовой самостоятельности высших учебных заведений дало возможность вузам самим определять содержание образовательных программ, учитывать потребности рынка труда, ну и, безусловно, учитывать мировые тенденции. Это позволило сегодня привлечь Казахстан 40 зарубежных стратегических партнеров. Это ведущие высшие учебные заведения мира, которые сегодня уже работают в Казахстане и наладили, и выбрали свой путь развития. Причем интересно то, что каждый партнер, приходя в Казахстан, выбирал свой путь. Это была возможность либо реализации совместных образовательных программ, двудипломных программ, либо возможность создания филиала в Казахстане, либо получения франшизы и абсолютно самостоятельное иностранное учебное заведение. И таким образом можно отметить, что сегодня в Казахстане уже работают 33 филиала ведущих зарубежных вузов мира. Следует отметить, что когда зарубежные вузы приглашались в Казахстан, они приглашались, конечно, в первую очередь с учетом специализации и позиций этих вузов и с учетом специфики наших казахстанских высших учебных заведений. И если посмотреть на сегодняшний день, то практически партнерство зарубежного вуза и нашего казахстанского вуза, они разработали и реализовывают именно те образовательные программы, по которым кадры нужны именно для этого региона. Можно отметить, что сегодня уже отдельно работают у нас такие зарубежные вузы, как в этом году распахнули двери Кардифф университет, Ковентри университет, самостоятельно работает Демонфорд, который в этом году уже осуществил первый выпуск студентов, обучавшихся только на договорной основе. А если же рассмотреть в оригинальном разрезе, можно заметить, что практически в этом году у нас состоится первый выпуск совместных программ, которые реализует, к примеру, Северо-Казахстанский университет имени Хозыбаева и университет Аризоны. Естественно, если смотреть специфику Северо-Казахстанской области, то это у нас аграрный регион, и, соответственно, программы были адаптированы именно под экономику этого региона. Если же, допустим, рассматривать Актюбинскую область, здесь партнером выступил Шотландский университет Хериот, и программы были разработаны именно в области нефтегазовой индустрии, в области кибербезопасности, инженерии и так далее. И сегодня все 33 филиала уже практически ведут полноценную работу в Казахстане. В этом году уже состоятся выпуски университета Аризоны и отдельных программ. Ну и, безусловно, последнее, конечно, я бы очень хотела обратить внимание, что, говоря об искусственном интеллекте, конечно, нельзя это оставить без внимания. Здесь казахстанский опыт таков, что партнерами по подготовке кадров в области искусственного интеллекта у нас выступили Сеульский технический университет Сеултех. В партнерстве с Кызылординским университетом Корхатата была создана высшая школа искусственного интеллекта, которую уже обучают студентов 2 курса подряд. На базе Восточно-Казахстанского технического университета имени Серикбаева партнером выступила мастерская «Лубань». Там непосредственно в сфере транспортного машиностроения с применением искусственного интеллекта началась подготовка кадров. Ну и третья программа — это программа запущена на базе Казахского национального технического университета имени Ханыша Сатпаева совместно с CTU. Безусловно, конечно, это непосредственно специализированные программы, да, но мы должны понимать то, что сейчас все должны работать уметь работать с искусственным интеллектом. И еще года 3 назад, когда мы собрались с вузами, обсуждали этот вопрос. Вызов очень большой, как нам подготовиться к этому. И тогда, пообсуждав, пришли к такому выводу: давайте для начала мы сделаем один такой стандарт для себя, межвузовский стандарт, и там определим правила игры. Как нужно внедрять искусственный интеллект в образовательную программу, чтобы на выходе студенты наряду с непосредственно профессиональными компетенциями получили и компетенции применения искусственного интеллекта в своей сфере. Плюс, как нам нужно обучать наш профессорско-преподавательский состав. И всесторонне обсудив, пожалуй, именно этот стандарт у нас стал основой того, чтобы мы уже могли внедрять во всю сферу высшего образования. Ну и сегодня глава государства перед нами поставил задачу построения цифровой страны в ближайшие 3 года. И здесь, конечно, особая миссия ложится на наше Министерство науки и высшего образования. Я думаю, мы в этом плане сейчас уже будем работать более активно. И одна из задач — это создание специализированного высшего учебного заведения, университета, именно специализирующегося на искусственном интеллекте.
Thank you very much. I think we will have a chance to discuss a little bit the artificial intelligence in that context, but this is very interesting to see that Kazakhstan is mainly focusing on internationalization and importing basically the educational products from East and West, which is a very interesting approach, and many countries adopt that. I would like to move to Serbia. You are in the epicenter of the European university ecosystem. What is your approach in terms of trying to address the higher education reforms and making sure the system is future-proof?
Thank you very much once again. Your Excellencies, distinguished organizers, dear colleagues, it's really great pleasure to greet you today on behalf of the Ministry of Education of the Republic of Serbia. And of course, thank you very much for your kind invitation to this significant conference and for the opportunity to share thoughts on the challenges we face and the responses we strive to provide, especially in the position in the heart of the Europe. At the very beginning, I would like to emphasize that education is more than a fundamental human right. We already heard about it. It empowers individuals to realize their potential and contributes to building peaceful and inclusive societies. So we have to do together. Education reform is a continuous process to new competencies, learning outcomes, scientific progress, and technological changes. It is the duty of the state to anticipate these changes, to consider them in a broader social context, and to translate them into coherent public policy, into strategies, measures, actions that will lead to clearly defined goals. Regarding documents, all key reform directions for education in the Republic of Serbia are defined by the Strategy for the Development of Education until 2030. These documents especially recognize the potential of digital education and the area of improving the quality of teaching and student achievements and supporting its developments. In line with this, of course, after the strategy, the action plan for the period 2023-2026 has been adopted by the government of Serbia. At the national level, coming now to the higher education faces several important challenges. These include providing equal access to all students, improving the quality of teaching, and better connecting education with needs of the labor market, which is very important for all of us here. Other difficulties include limited funding, always in education, the departure of skilled professionals abroad, which is a great challenge for us, and the need to adapt to digital and especially green transition. To address these issues, governments and universities are introducing reforms such as updating study programs, improving teacher trainings, supporting research and innovation, building stronger links with industry, and increasing the global visibility of our universities. These steps aim to make higher education more inclusive, modern, and aligned with national development goals. When it comes to the action plan and the measures it includes, they are directed toward achieving two main objectives. The first is improved quality of teaching and learning for the pre-university education, and the second is improved accessibility, quality, and relevance of higher education. The measures are the modernization of curricula and teaching programs, further digitalization of education at all levels, and I can say that we are very good in digitalization in Serbia. Regarding schools, more than 90% of our schools are connected to internet and all digital platforms. Also universities, for sure. Strengthening of evaluation and self-evaluation systems within institutions, monitoring of students' progress, and ensuring that education is open and accessible to all. A good example to this is the Master 4.0 programs developed jointly by Serbian University and non-governmental organization Digital Serbia, basically in partnership with 75 companies, institutions that have a long tradition in the field of technology, economics and management, created programs that offer lectures and internships for students. This initiative is a hub for both domestic and foreign professionals to bring real work closer to the students and engage them in the operation of the well-established companies. And we have very good examples for the Master 4.0 programs. When we speak of the strategies, action plans and reforms, it is also important to remember that they ultimately bring changes to everyday students' life. Therefore, support for institution and educational professionals, as well as the continuous developments of inter-university collaborations, are an essential part of all our efforts. Serbia is actively engaged in the regional and international cooperation framework, including European Higher Education Area and Erasmus Plus programs, which foster mobility, mutual recognition of qualification, and capacity building. We are fully aware that communication, lifelong learning, and professional development are the only way to strengthen our capacities and provide education that prepares students for the modern world and the challenges it brings. Bearing in mind how technological development, artificial intelligence, and digitalization are reshaping the labor market, but also our daily lives, Serbia has, through collaboration with other relevant institutions and the business community, undertaken significant reforms. Finally, education, and higher education in particular, remain the most powerful instrument for building understanding, peace, and solidarity among nations. Our shared responsibility is to ensure that every student, regardless of background, has the opportunity to develop the knowledge, skills, and values needed to face global challenges with wisdom, creativity, and of course, compassion. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. I think it's very important to see how the European area of higher education with Erasmus has completely transformed, because that interchange of knowledge and professors and students indeed has had a big transformation over the last several decades. I think we have heard from South Caucasus, Central Asia, Europe. Now it will be interesting to understand what is going on in the Gulf states, because that's a completely different region with a different culture of higher education and very interesting, unique dynamics there. Could you please share with us a little bit, Dr. Alkopel?
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you to invite me to attend this event. And it's a pleasure to be joined here. On behalf of the state of Gulf and the Arab Bureau of Educational for Gulf State, it's make 7 countries. This is the Gulf country, is plus Yemen in this office, and this office have the main branch in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia, and they have the Center of Educational Research. This is in Kuwait, and also the branch for the training for the leaders in education in Doha, in Qatar. This center built programs for education for the leaders in the education. And also we have the Arabic Language Center in Sharqa. This center helped to create the curriculum for Arabic language and also the testing for Arabic language for foreign language as Arabic foreign language. And also there is Gulf University. It's in Manama in Bahrain, and this university focused in many subjects, but there is a specialty in management and also in medical. Nowadays, in all the Gulf countries, there is a new strategies and new vision about education. They're focused in two ways actually. The first one, to focus about the human capital, and that means how to improve all the new generation with the future skills. I think this event, in this time, it's necessary because I think we have to rethink about the educational and the system in education and also in universities. Is the graduate from student, they have enough skills to the future, or they have the, what you call it, the standard of skills? That means you have to think about the new skills, especially with the nowadays the technology is very improvement. When you think about the IE, as you mentioned, you have to think about how to deal with the new technology in the future. Is we still what we are looking now for the technology and how to use it in the future. At the same time, you have to think about the what you call it, something about the ethics, especially when you use now the technology like IE, and how to learn the student on the new generation how to deal with this kind of the technology. And also you have to inform the system of the universities. And as you know, the university today have the programs and subject. They focused how to deal with the student, and all the programs just built to focus, as you know, about some skills, about some jobs in the future. But we have to deal with the new programs and new subjects, and you have to deal with this subject and give the student all the future skills they can deal when they go to the life. Now in educational, especially in the universities, the majority of the students in the Gulf state, they have two chances. The first chance to study in the universities, local universities in the Gulf, and they have another chance to study abroad as scholarship in different countries. At same time, the universities now in the Gulf states, they open the university for the student from different countries to study in the Gulf, in the universities, and they have a chance for the Western or the good university to open the branches in the Gulf cities. We have now a lot of universities now from different countries open the branches in many cities in Gulf states. That means give the chance for exchange the knowledge between the universities and the professors, all with the Gulf universities. I think you have to think about how to open that research centers for the international professors work together and build the new programs together and think about how to deal with the new skills and how to deal with the new technology they're coming now. In our bureau, now we built new strategies that may help the ministries in the Gulf countries to deal with the new idea, especially like a new idea for the futures and what think about the educational in 2050, for example, because all ministries have their own vision about 2030 or 2040. But actually we have to think about educational, how to look like, the skills for the student after this period of time. We think the university, it's not enough to build the what you call it, it's like the routine programs or the traditional programs. They spend a lot of, now they have a lot of graduates from these programs. When they graduate from the university, they don't have the jobs and enough the chance to work in the field. But actually, when they build the new programs with the new skills, that means give the new graduate many chances to work and also give the hand for the economy and help the countries in different way. In the last point, I think it's good when you're sharing the idea in conference like this conference, and they will be give that different idea and different respect to build a new idea how to reform the universities and educational system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are raising an important question about the strategy for education. I mean, many of the governments obviously have to be very reactive to the realities, and obviously when we speak about higher education and education in general, it's also a very political question because it regards to any member of the society. Higher education, also economy as well. So that means that everyone is interested in what higher education will be producing, and everyone has their own interest in this. And in this context, you know, it is very symbolic that today the new higher education law has been put in force in Armenia. I'm sure many people in the room have different opinions about the law. For me, we have a clear message that the government recognizes there is need for reforms, there is a problem, and there is something that we have to do about it. Then we can have opinions about the solutions, and we always will, as in any country. But in this context, can we actually plan these types of big reforms for only 4 or 5 years, or is it, as His Excellency mentioned, at least 20 years ahead of the time? And to be able to answer to this question, we have to understand what is the purpose of the higher education. And I think this is bringing back to the most important educational philosophy question. What is higher education system serving to? Is it creating workforce? Is it making sure we have deep expertise and adaptability and having creator types for the future? This expectation management is, I think, one of the big crises actually higher education systems globally currently have, because many of the university systems are trying to become either too research intensive or vice versa, mixing the TVET functions with the higher education. In this context, Ms. Andreas, and coming back to Armenia, what is your opinion in terms of what the purpose of higher education system should be, and then how you think that going forward in Armenia?
Thank you. It's really a difficult question to answer because, in these kind of questions, you put yourself in some kind of dichotomies when you should select this or the other version, when every version could be the right one. So I do believe that while talking about the higher education and research, we should take into account that we don't have only one function for the society, but we have several and very important functions that higher education system is performing. And of course, being the main let's say, tool or instrument to provide the relevant workforce and knowledge for the development of society is crucial. But let me say that being the graduate of the Faculty of Philosophy from the Yerevan State University, you may question in any time whether the graduate of the Faculty of Philosophy would be the right workforce for the economic development of any contemporary society. So it means that, of course, it's right, and we should provide the opportunity for education of specialists that are important for the development of economy, and my colleagues here were describing the ways how it should be done, calculating the demand from the sectors and understanding what it should be the proportion of different education programs in our system, but this is not the only truth. We should acknowledge that higher education and research are moving factors for innovation and for creativity in societies. And this means that despite of the field of specialization, when we are talking about higher education, we are talking about the level of skills that are essential for any sector. And development of human capital means not only development of specialists in different fields, but it means also development of skills in general, to be able to meet all the also public challenges that we face in different countries. But the third dimension that I would mention, this is the importance of education and higher education in particular as public good. And this is very important dimension of higher education that we should acknowledge and we should preserve. We see a lot of research and studies showing us how the situation in different environments is changing when we have low level of higher education graduates in the environment. The level of crime, for example, how it increases when we have the environment, when the level of education is low. We see how the poverty increases when we have low level of higher education in our environment. So it means that this dimension, understanding higher education as public good, should be considered not less than providing the opportunities for training of specialists for different fields. And I do believe that the reforms to be successful should be comprehensive enough to take into account all the dimensions and all the functions that higher education should serve in any society. So, and that is our vision, and with the new law and with all the other strategic documents and with Academic City project, we are preserving this comprehensive approach, trying not to choose one, but to combine all together and to provide environment for all the functions to develop. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Andreasen. Indeed, the higher education is very multifunctional in its essence, and in many hubs we see that very narrow, specialized, and highly innovation-intensive environments are actually more focused in the private universities, but all of them are built around very strong foundational undergraduate programs that the public universities are providing. So in that sense, making sure that the country has a very strong foundational higher education system, and then different institutions can specialize in this or that way, seems to be the common sort of quality standard we have globally. But I want to go to Georgia because the minister has highlighted the regional divide, and I think this is something that many countries can relate to. We have been, for example, in touch with African colleagues, and for example, access to internet in their case is a big challenge, not to say even access to different educational institutions. Does a small country like Georgia and Armenia and potentially also Serbia as well have a competitive advantage in that sense in trying to close that gap versus the bigger countries? And in that sense, do you see that we could surpass the curve of the speed, because there is so